We're going to try to fix this real quick. But, anyways, while I'm working on this, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Elite Insight. This is the AEW pro show here at BC Wrestle Pod. I seem to have fixed the issue, but my camera doesn't. So we'll see. We're going to play around to see if I've shown my face tonight. But, anyways, my name is Mikey El Jefe of BC Wrestle Pod. Um, and I am here once again with my partner in crime for all things AEW related, Mr. Verdito himself, Benny the Bear in the house. Thank you for coming back. So we're gonna see how tonight's gonna work. You might just get an icon with my voice tonight, but that is okay. But how you doing tonight, my friend?
Don't you show your face around here no more. Uh, I'm doing great, man. You know, this was a great show. Probably, I feel like we say it every time, like top five AEW view of all time. But with no hyperbole, uh, this is a great show. Let's rock and roll.
Absolutely. So, we are going to be here this evening talking about Forbidden Door, and you might be wondering to yourself, hasn't it been some time since the Forbidden Door happened? And the answer to that question is yes. But we didn't review Forbidden Door last week as I was on vacation, and all of BC WrestlePod also got a week off. And so now we're back and refreshed than ever. We're going to talk about it now. We're also going to briefly touch upon everything that happened last week from San Diego for AEW Dynamite and Collision as we are headed into beach break and we are less than 3 weeks away from AEW Redemption, which is the next pay per view on the road to Wembley. So we're going to talk all about a bit about that. So, but before we get into everything, you already know the drill. We go live pretty much almost a lot throughout the week, and you can pick your favorite streaming site to see us go live, or you can check out the YouTube page the following day to see edited reviews in the afternoon. So that's always going to be a good time. Social medias at BC Wrestle Pod, merch at bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com, and last but certainly not least, we have a coffee bot. It helps us pay for pay-per-views and stuff like that. So if you feel inclined to donate, you may do so. But if not, that is okay. We love you either way. Alrighty, let's get into this. So this is how this Forbidden Door post show is going to work. We're going to quickly talk about the buy-in. We're going to talk about the main card, and then we're going to get into Dynamite and Collision. So it should be a lot of fun. So let's kick things off with a match that Tony Khan decided to just tell us about. What was it, like 2 or 3 hours before the show was actually going to start, that we would be getting a third match on the card for the buy-in, which I'm not gonna lie, I was okay with it because this gave us, our first buy-in match, which was Daniel Garcia versus New Japan Pro Wrestling star, as well as one half of the new Progress Tag Team Champions, Mr. Drilla Maloney. Um, Drilla is just so good. I love Drilla. Drilla is fantastic, and this is going to be a Drilla appreciation post because he's great. Uh, this was a fun match. I thought this match was a lot of fun. This was some really good back and forth. Um, Drilla and Daniel complement each other pretty well, which I thought was pretty cool. And yeah, it was nice. I really enjoyed this match, and I thought this was a fun opener for a match that was told to us that, like 3 hours before the show that we were getting. But yeah, those are my quick thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I thought this is a great little introduction to the wider AEW audience for Gorilla Maloney because I saw a lot of oh, who's this guy, and oh, who's this guy. Um, you know, and you couldn't have picked a better first opponent for him because the AEW crowd loves Daniel Garcia, and Daniel Garcia is a hell of a wrestler, man. Always has been, uh, and this was a great little opening match.
It truly was, and again, it was really nice. And as we'll talk about throughout the rest of the show, a lot of the Forbidden Door card was, all right, whose visas are ready to go? You get over here. So, but hey, it is what it is. But it was still a little fun match. And honestly, so Jilla Baloney picks up the victory here, and the fun matches continued on the buy-in because then we would get into the second match of the buy-in, which was a TBS Survival of the Fittest. Sorry, I swear I could speak. It was a qualifying match to see who would get the final spot in the TBS Championship Survival of the Fittest match that would be happening on Dynamite a couple of days later in San Diego. So, of course, we got Sky Blue, who also had a hell of a weekend over in the UK and Eve, as we talked about last night. Go check out that review because that video is up on the YouTube channel. But Sky Blue would take it on Stardom's Micah. These girls threw down. There was lots of hard hitting. Micah and Sky Blue were just decimating each other. It was fantastic to watch. Um, and I love Sky to death. I really, really do. But I was really happy to see Micah get that final spot because then we got a good. We had the final field for the survival of the fittest was pretty solid. I was like, hey, there's a plethora of girls that bring different styles. It's going to be fun. So this match itself was really, really good. I enjoyed it, and it was really cool to see Micah get that final spot. And she would be heading to San Diego later in the week to see how to try to get that TBS championship. So, yeah, I thought this was a fun little match as well.
Yeah, this is a great match. I thought they really meshed well, and they got right around 9 minutes, and so it didn't overstay its welcome, and nothing was egregious. So great, a great little match here, and I'm also glad that Micah reached the survival of the fittest, even though she didn't go that far. But hopefully, we'll see more Micah down the road.
I hope so too. So again, Micah beats Sky Blue to earn the final spot in the survival of the fittest match. And then we finally get into our last match of the buy-in, which was for the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championships. This is, of course, Divine Dominion, which is Megan Bayne and Lena Cross, the champions, taking on the team of Thunder Rosa and CMLL's Olympia. So Olympia is not new to us here in AEW. She's been popping up over the last couple months, maybe even prior to that. So last time we saw Olympia, of course, she had a match on Collision. Then she went to Stardom for a tour, went back to Mexico, and now here she is once again back in AEW. I have to say, this is probably my favorite match of the buy-in, and it was really cool to see Thunder and Olympia kind of take it to Lena and Megan. Um, Lena and Megan kind of had to work for this win here a little bit, which was really nice. And I still didn't think that Divine Dominion was going to lose, but Thunder and Olympia felt like they had something to prove in this match, which was really cool. And I was just like, oh, they're actually making Lena and Megan work for this. Okay, I'm here for this.
Yeah, so, definitely.
I like this one a lot.
So did I. I just felt like they made them work for it, and Thunder Rosa is somebody that I absolutely love to see every time. So, because she just brings something different. I love the fire that she has, and Olympia's really neat. I've only seen her a couple times, but she seems really cool. Divine Dominion, what else can you say? It's there's no tag division, but they're doing a good job with what they're doing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where we continue to go with Divine Dominion and who they put in their path as we head into Wembley. But that is everything for the buy-in show. So now let's get into the main card proper, in which we had a variety of different matches that had lots of things. And we kicked off with a banger, which I knew on paper was going to rule, but it was still really, really fun to watch. So kicking off the main card for Forbidden Door was a three-way tag team match in which we saw, and it is important to say here because this happened just a few days before Forbidden Door, the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, El Sky Team, so Místico and Máscara Dorada, versus the Young Bucks, versus New Japan Pro Wrestling's Unbound Company in the form of Shingo Takagi and Titan. This match was epic. And Benny, you exactly called it when we were doing predictions. Everybody was flying, and Shingo was here to catch bodies. And catch bodies, he did. This match ruled. Oh my goodness. This was a hot way to start off the show.
Yeah, this was pretty standard fare for the Young Bucks. Like, and that's not a diss. That is a compliment because they always seem to deliver. Um, I love that Shingo was just beating dudes up, like just smacking them out of the air. Uh, that when there was a moment there when Mascara Dorado and Nick Jackson had gotten tagged in, and I was like, "Oh boy!" Uh, but it didn't last long. You know, it's a six way or six. Well, you know, a six-person match. So this one was an exceptional opener, and I thought the ROH tag titles were going to be on the line here, but I was wrong. And I was like, did the Young Bucks just win the ROH tag titles? No? Okay. Well, either way, the Young Bucks picked up the win in home court. So, whatever. You know, it was great.
Yeah. I will say though, it was really fun. The dynamics for this match was really fun too because you had Sky Team and Bucks being the faces. And what's fun is again watching Titan and CMLL because he is a mostly baby face down there. It was fun to watch him and Shingo kind of be the quote unquote heels in this match. Um, but they were lovable heels. Like the crowd was behind everyone in this match, and especially when Shingo would you know get a call or response from the crowd, they were into this. They were into it, and I'm just like, oh, I love wrestling fans, and specifically California. Y'all make me happy when wrestling comes to our towns because for the most part we do it right.
100%. And Shingo, like, it's hard not to get behind the guy. You know, it's really not. It's not hard to get behind.
No, it is not. And this is great. Well, it's great for everyone. Like you said, the Bucks pick up the victory, so we might be setting some up leading into Wembley. Sky Teams, the ROH champions. They can travel from Mexico to AEW and Ring of Honor, so that should be fun. And for Titan and Shingo, it helps them with momentum going into G1 coming up here very shortly, so especially Shingo, because we're going to see how his journey for G1 this year is going to work. So this is going to be fun. But again, another great, really fantastic match to open up the main card. We're going to continue this momentum for a good chunk of it because after our opening match, we get into our second match, excuse me, of the main card, which was another banger. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're having this match right now. Oh, we get the dream match of Kenneth Omega versus Zack Sabre Jr. in a dream singles bout. And I was just yelling at my screen. I'm like, oh my God, we're getting here already. I'm not ready. And these boys did not disappoint. On my list for match of the year contenders, like there is not enough words in the English dictionary to describe how great this match was.
Uh, yeah, I completely agree. This is easily top five matches of the year for me right now. I really like that they worked Kenny's pace. Like, this really felt like an old school. Well, I hate to say old school because it was like 7 years ago, whatever it was, 10 years ago. But either way, it feels like a proper New Japan uh, heavyweight title match, and what a beautiful match, man! Like Kenny was doing stuff in this match that like I've never seen him do or haven't seen him do in years, like he was like holding down Zach and then just like kneeing him in the ribs, like to work over the back and the ribs for the one wing angel, which was a neat little storytelling bit. And Kenny picks up the win, obviously, and we're on to bigger and better things, my friend.
100%. This match is exactly what Kenny needed in order to kind of get his mojo back and feel like he can climb the top of the mountain again. Zack Sabre Jr. gave him one heck of a match. And yeah, Kenny is looking to, when we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth, Kenneth is on to bigger things at the moment. And Zach is also trying to vie for bigger things at the moment. So yeah, we're gonna see where both of their journeys go as the rest of this month and the rest of the summer, goes for them. But dream match achieved. This was great. One of my match of the year candidates, and this is again already only second match into the main card. And it was just like this is a A show. This is the A show, y'all. But it's great. All righty, let's keep this going though, because after Kenny and Zack Sabre Jr. put on one hell of a performance for the crowd, we continued on with another pretty good match as well for the AEW Continental Championship. We have Jon Moxley versus Bandito. Moxley always perplexes me in like the best way possible because out here he's being an absolute jerk. He's ripping Bandito's mask. Bandito is bleeding in this match. And then after Moxley wins the match, he shakes Bandito's hand. I was just like, oh, Moxley, you never change. But this was also another fun one as well. This was a really fun one. Um, it's really nice to always see Bandito on these pay-per-views because I think he's a fantastic talent. Him and Moxley really work well together. I thought this was really fun. This was a fun match for what it was, and even though I knew that Moxley wasn't going to lose this title in any capacity, more Bandito on AEW pay-per-views is something I'm never going to say no to. So yeah, that's my take on that one.
Yeah, I agree. I just wish he would pick up some wins on pay per view. That'd be nice. But I digress. This is a fantastic match. And what is it? Bandito is probably one of the best organic baby faces that AEW has.
Mhm.
Mox is I love that he can sort of flip the switch depending on whatever role he's needed in. Which adds an interesting dynamic to his character. And I love the finish to this match that Bandito did a Hail Mary slam to Mox while he was in the choke, while he's in the Bulldog choke with the I guess it was more of a coquina clutch, but either way, it was a sleeper hold, and he slammed him on his back, tried to hopefully get him to release it, and it just didn't work. And
No.
he tapped and he passed out. So
Yeah. So Bandito tried, but again, this was a really fun match. Like I said before, Moxley wins. He shakes Bandito's hand afterwards, and I'm just like, oh, Moxley, you never change. So we go from the leader of the Death Riders winning his match into another member. Well, I'm just gonna say this. There was a point during this match I thought Shota Umino had gone to heaven because he died on my screen. I was just like, that table spot, man, was just insane to watch. I was like, oh, Pac killed Shota. That's insane. But Pac looking to, well, not only send a message to Shota Umino, but trying to get some championship gold in the process. We have our IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship next. Of course, representing the Death Riders here in AEW is Pac, and he would be taking on the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion and shooter himself, Mr. Shota Umino. Um, I'm never going to be disappointed with Pac. Pac, whoever he ends up facing, always ends up having a really great match. And this was a really good match between him and Shota. I will admit this was probably the first match that the crowd was kind of like, it took them a bit to get into, but then once they got into it, it was great. Um, but yeah, man, it's just Shota and Pac throwing the graps. Like I said, I feel like Pac doesn't get the flowers that he deserves, but I'm going to give it to him because he always works really well with whoever he's working with, and this was a really fun match to showcase Shota and what he can as well. So yeah, this was a really solid match. I don't really have any complaints about this one, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. Like that avalanche belly to belly was pretty gross. But the like that Sid style power bomb through the table, as you said, like was just gross. Like he just yeeted him through that table, you know. Like uh, my only complaint about this one, like it wasn't even a big one. It was that like Shota was doing like a fighting spirit thing, where it was like still trying to go like doing the old punch drunk thing, and then falls on his face, and then wins like 3 minutes later. Why'd you do that, man? You know, like that was a very Flair moment.
Right.
But otherwise, this was a solid match, and I agree with you that like that I don't know if the crowd knew uh, who to cheer for at first, and then Pac established himself as the bad guy, as he does. His name is the Bastard, so it's it's Pac. So they got behind Shota, and he got one of the biggest pops of the night by the end of it. You know.
He did, and I was really happy to see that for Shota, especially. And we've been talking about this on New Japan since like last year too. The redemption of Shota Umino, kind of working his way back into the good graces of the fans, and just his whole outlook has changed, over the last year. So I'm rooting for him. Now, a little bit of an update on the road to the G1. Unfortunately, Shota Umino's championship reign has only lasted 22 days, as he has now lost the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship to Gabe Kidd, who is an absolute psychopath, and Benny and I love him. Gabe Kidd is such a, oh my God. I swear, here's the best way to describe Gabe Kidd for those of you who are just like, why do you love the psychopath? I think, and I can't speak for Benny, but I can speak for myself. We all have a different variety of friends that kind of fit into the mold of different tropes. And I feel like Gabe Kidd is that one friend, like he's crazy. He will say the most outlandish stuff. You still don't have a bead on his personality, but you're damn sure glad that he's your friend, because when things go down and shit pops off, he gonna be the first one on the front line, just like end the fight, and he will be there in case y'all get into the bar fight. He will. Gabe, that's exactly Gabe Kidd. He'll talk a lot of shit. He doesn't usually go looking for trouble, but he'll talk a lot of shit and provoke you and poke the bear. And when shit goes down, you be happy to have him on your side. And that's exactly how I feel. So I'm a little sad that Shota didn't get a long title reign, but here's hoping that G1 will give him, momentum going into it. So
Yeah, definitely, and it was pretty. It was pretty obvious to me when this card was released, or when Pac issued the challenge, that this was supposed to be Gabe versus Shota for the global heavyweight title. Uh, but with Gabe's visa issues, it ended up being Pac versus Shota.
which is true. I wonder if they would have had the title change happen on the show. But anyways, but after the match though, it was really fun to see, because we gotta get in all the things that we can, because Shota wins. Death Riders come in. Moxley specifically is kind of like looking at up, like Shota up and down, like we're not really having a fight. But before anything happens though, President Tanahashi comes down the ramp. You know, Mr. Asa comes down and kind of not scares off, but like lets it be known to Moxley, be like, "We're done. It's over with. Y'all gotta go." And so, oh, President Tanahashi, the dem knees. But
that that Moxley Tanahashi feud will never end.
they'll take it to the grave, and even then, they'll fight in the afterlife too. We love it. No, but this was a really fun match. I will say this was the one. This was the first. This was the first match of the night where the crowd was. It took them a bit to get into, but by the end they got into. So San Jose, thank y'all for getting it together towards the halfway point and the tail end of this match. Now then, we go from one championship match. We go from the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, and we go straight into our AEW Women's World Championship. And I'm just like, ooh, listen, Tony Khan, this is what happens when you allow women to like 20 plus minutes to wrestle. And again, I said this on the predictions. This is by far the best built story going into Forbidden Door because we really informed the kids out here the history between Tekla and Starlight Kid. But also, like we talked about a little bit last night when we were talking about Global Wars, when you all you need is a 2-minute video talking about who these international stars are, what their name is, like what kind of wrestling, show some highlights of their wrestling style, and people will get behind him. And that is exactly what San Jose did. This crowd was behind Tekla and Starlight Kid, and these two threw down. I was so happy this match ended up being as great as I thought it was going to be, man. Like they got to work that Joshi style and it was beautiful to watch. Yeah, this was definitely a dream match and this was by far one of my favorite. This is in like my top 3 matches of the entire card, which is really hard to say because I thought every match on this card delivered in some capacity. Except for you tag team championships, but that's okay. It wasn't the worst match of the night either. I really like this match. I think Tekla has really found a way, and she kind of has proven the doubters wrong since she came to AEW. And when she won that AEW Women's World Championship, I know a lot of people were a little bit skeptical of how her championship reign will be. She has gotten over so well, and like everybody for the most part seems to really enjoy Tekla, and I do too. But I also love Starlight Kid. She is fantastic, and they both delivered in this match, in my personal opinion. Benny, how did you feel about this match between Starlight Kid and Tekla?
I thought it was great. Like I really like. It was like a top rope arm drag that was pretty sick looking. Um, that Starlight Kid and Tekla really delivered on this one. Um, it was never in doubt. Like I didn't think that with the story that they were telling that Starlight Kid was ever going to take the title off Tekla Tekla, but uh, regardless, they made me forget for a few minutes, and that 2.999 O'Connor rule had me going. So,
Oh my goodness.
uh, great stuff all around.
I agree with you. I never thought that Tekla was in jeopardy of losing it, but there were brief moments I was like, oh, maybe they would. That would be kind of crazy. Tekla does end up winning. She also continues to disrespect Atara Okada in the process as well, which is hilarious to watch. That is also a feud that is never going to die, and I'm here for it. But more importantly, Tekla also takes Starlight Kid's mask, and so the reign of terror continues to happen. So I love it. Also, I couldn't help but chuckle when Tekla showed up at the scrum wearing Starlight Kid's mask. Uh, I was just like, oh, Tekla never changed. But again, a fantastic women's match, a fantastic pay-per-view match in general, and definitely one of my highlights of Forbidden Door. Tekla is unstoppable right now, and as she heads into Wembley, where Mercedes Monet is waiting for her, I'm very interested to see what Tekla's journey is going to look like to get there and who's going to be in her path, because we also got to see what happens at Redemption and where that goes for all of it. But Fantastic match for these two. Definitely one of the highlights. And this was great. So we move on from our AEW Women's World Championship match. And this is, like I said at the beginning of the show, there was only one match that I felt like it was a little bit of a lull, and that was this match. Um, which honestly I'm okay with. I'm glad that it didn't end up being usually where the energy kind of dipped for the women's matches, and this is where the crowd was kind of like about it, except for what happened at post match, or yeah, what happened towards the end of this match, and that's the most important part, to be perfectly honest. But we have the AEW World Tag Team Championships on the line here. Cage and Cope defending the titles against the Dogs, which is David Finlay and Clark Connors. Like I said, I don't think this match was horrible. But again, we talked about it during predictions. I had no doubt that Cage and Cope were going to retain here. And this felt more like a dynamite match than a pay-per-view match. But hey, sometimes it's gonna be like that when you look at the rest of the card, one match was going to suffer, and unfortunately, well, fortunately for it was this match, because that means that the women's matches and the rest of the matches didn't suffer from it. But also unfortunately, because I do think the Dogs always have been finding themselves in these positions, um, where they're part of the match where the crowd's energy is kind of dipped just a tiny little bit. But yeah, this felt more like a dynamite match or a collision match than it did a pay-per-view match. But honestly, I feel like, this match was a vehicle to what happened at the end, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But before we get there, Benny, walk me through this match. How did we feel? What are your thoughts of Cage and Cope versus the Dogs?
Yeah. I'm actually gonna go in the opposite direction of you, bud. It's okay. I like this match a lot. This was if wrestling is a variety show, this was your sports entertainment match. Because it was very like meat and potatoes, sort of like American tag team wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the Dogs as a tag team. Like, I'm not really looking forward to them being back with Gabe, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Because I think Gabe like steals too much of their spotlight. Because Tony Khan clearly loves Gabe and doesn't really care much for the Dogs when
Mm.
Gabe's around. And but like, I will always take like uh sympathetic somehow. uh uh Christian is a heel in this tag team, and he's still getting baby face sympathy in the match. Like, this guy's fucking amazing, dude. Just amazing.
Guys, I want to be Christian Cage when I grow up. Like, honestly,
Absolutely.
like his
What a-
character is, again, he's a dick, and we all have a friend who's a dick, but also like we want to keep him around though. And you're exactly right. Cage is a heel, and he gets that, but he still gets the sympathy. I was just like, he's talking about banging moms and everything, and people are like, "Yeah." I was like, "What?" Wrestling is
uh,
silly, and I love it.
I know, right? And like the last thing I want to say is that like I really liked Cope's gear in this one.
Ooh,
Uh
it was really good.
they had like half old school pants, and it like then like the lower half were like the rated R style.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's a really cool look.
Oh man, we love it. All righty, so let's talk about the big thing that happened. So towards the tail end, we get the lights go out, and at first I was like, "Oh, are we doing this? Is this where it happens?" But then, of course, we got the Bang Bang Gang up on the stage in their pose. That includes the Guns and Juice and Ace Austin. I was like, "Okay, we're lingering on them. Something's about to happen." And then we cut back to the ring. The lights come back up, and Benito, I screamed at top of my lungs when I saw the familiar all black ensemble of Jay White in the ring. And I may have cried a little bit because I have missed the Switchblade. Uh... but Switchblade Jay White is back. You know, he takes it to Finlay with the shillelagh, which allows Cage and Cope to retain. I'm so happy that Jay White is finally cleared. And then at the end, he did the run in like the 80s sports movies, and we just needed a freeze frame and everything. And that would have been the best thing on the planet. But the Bang Bang Gang, all members are united, and I hope everyone stays healthy and nobody gets hurt. Now that we have them all back together in one place and everyone's together again.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Like, I'm not usually a big lights on, lights off fan because it's been overused in AEW,
Right.
and I understand why Tony does it. Sabu, but like, um, this one worked because they did a double one, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was like lights out, lights on, the Bang Bang Gang, lights out, lights on, ching,
Mm-hmm.
and the crowd explodes. And I think the Bang Bang Gang all getting reunited on the ramp was easily the biggest pop of the night. Like,
We love a good story. We wrestling fans really do. We've been waiting for this forever, man.
yeah, and but the entire AEW fan base has just been like, "We love you, Jay White. We're just holding a candle out for you," you know.
And he is finally back. And I was like, thank God I've missed Jay so much. So very fun to see. And again, my like I said, my only lull of the night, but even then this wasn't bad because the match itself was decent and what we got at the end was really great. So let's keep going though, because we still got lots to talk about on Forbidden Door because we go from the World Tag Team Championships. I feel like I'm gonna get a little bit of some people who are gonna watch this later are gonna say that I'm overblowing this. This to me personally was my match of the entire night, and I'm gonna tell you why. Like from bell to bell, I want to first by stating that nowhere did I think that this was like a perfect match. You could tell that specifically on Maya's part, she got a little gas, but I'll get into that a little bit. So this is the Owen Hart Women's Tournament Finals, Mercedes Moné versus Maya Worlds. And Benny, we've talked about this leading into Forbidden Door, that the women's tournament this year has been plagued with injuries and replacements and people not being cleared in time. So, of course, Willow Nightingale being injured threw a wrench in here because she was supposed to participate in this. Sari was not medically cleared by the U.S. doctors because she was cleared in Japan, but she wasn't cleared by U.S. doctors to participate. And so that kind of threw a wrench into everything. And so this finals is a match of women who originally weren't scheduled in here, but I'm damn happy that we still got them. Now, the reason that this is my match of the entire night is for two things. One, again, Mercedes Moné adds another banger to her resume of just incredible matches that she's had since, leaving WWE, and her resume speaks for herself. She always makes her opponents look really fantastic. And that is something that is true in this match. She really put on a hell of a clinic and a performance here. And again, this match will go on her resume. But the reason this is my particular match of the night is there are moments when wrestling, and I'm gonna get a little personal here. There are moments in wrestling where you find somebody and you've been and we always complain that we want companies to make new stars, and we are always rooting for up and coming and young wrestlers to begin the journey to the top of the mountain, which is like the top of the championship scene. And I again have been saying this. Maya World's career in AEW so far has been, being at the right place at the right time and always saying yes to any opportunity, whether it's a 3-minute match or a 15-minute match. And her can do attitude has got her here. And despite everything that has happened to her recently, she is still great. For me personally, this is my match of the night because this is one of those star making performances where now I am so excited to see where Maya World's career goes and I want to follow her. And this goes in the same vein of the same feelings that I got when I first laid eyes on Bianca Belair over in WWE. And she's one of my favorite women's wrestlers of all times because I got to see the beginning of her career to the rise to stardom to where she is now. And I got the same feelings watching this match with Maya. Like, I don't know. That's just me. And I feel, and I know people disagree with me when it comes to that, but that is why I really love this match. They put on a hell of a performance. This went so long, and yeah, this was my match of the night personally because another great match for Mercedes resume, but a star making performance for Maya. That yeah. So that's just me. I apologize for going on so long.
Hey, you're fine, man, and don't ever apologize for having your own opinion. You know, uh, but I digress. Like this was fine. I really liked it. Mercedes is a ring general in many ways. Maya did the job, and uh, even though I got this prediction wrong in my predictions, because I also wanted a new star to be made, but it's not her time yet. So uh, I I don't. I should stop counting out Mercedes. Stop betting against Mercedes. Really.
For reals. I was I agree because I also got this wrong on predictions too. But at the same time, though, again, like you said, Betty, Mercedes is a ring general. And speaking of Mercedes, like, I need people to stop doubting her too. Like, I feel like we've gotten to the point since she's been in AEW. I'm like, all right, y'all, we can't be saying that she don't know how to wrestle because have you seen the matches she's had in this company? Plus, have you seen the matches that she's had across the world since coming to AEW as well? Like, y'all
Yeah.
need to stop being. Y'all are just haters at this point. I like get over it.
I can't say that she doesn't bring it on herself because she's a heel. She's
That's
a
true.
generational heel.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is a gross, misogynistic, racist bull. So,
Clock
uh,
it.
you know, Mercedes is one of my top five favorite wrestlers of all time, and I make no apologies for that. She's one of the best to ever do it. So all the other people can kick rocks.
And that's on period. Seriously. Alrighty, let's keep going. We got two more matches to talk about because they really stacked the end of this card. So we go from Mercedes Moné wins. She has punched her ticket to Wembley. So I failed to mention that, but she punches her way second year in a row, Owen Hart winner. And again, for a tournament that was plagued by not being cleared and injuries, I still thought the women's Owen Hart was pretty fun. Alrighty, let's get into this because we go from the women's Owen Hart final into probably what I will say is the sports entertainment match of the night for me. Just for all the nonsense and the spots that we got. This is what we learned is that the circular steel cage in AEW now will be called Death's Door, which is interesting concept and name. I dig the circular steel cage, but in this match, it's 6-on-6. Team MJF and Don Callis family versus Team Mark Briscoe. So, of course, on Team MJF is MJF, Kyle Fletcher, Kazuchika Okada, Kevin Knight, Jake Doyle, and Andrade El Idolo. And on Team Mark Briscoe, you have Mark Briscoe, Darby Allen, Konosuke Takeshita, and the Conglomeration, which is Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. What can I say about this match that hasn't already been said? I was sports entertained, and this match ruled for all that. From Kyle O'Reilly's weapon of choice being an old school NES system, and he blew on the cartridge, so that warmed my little 90s child heart to death, to Willow Nightingale providing oranges for like a fruit snack, and also watching Kyle Fletcher get orange juiced in his open wounds, which citric acid don't feel good on open wounds, to probably AEW finally getting over like Leo Rush coming out of the bag, and it's fine, you guys. It's fine. This match had everything. Darby Allin planting EMT bombs and backpacks. like match was insane. And of course, the turn of Andrade made everything amazing as well. I was entertained. This match ruled. Betty, how did you feel about the steel cage match?
Yeah, it was fun. Like I wasn't expecting anything crazy, like match of the year or anything, because like you get like all these people in a match and then just like, well, this is just like a mid card haha still cage match. But I like the round cage. It's a really nice little tweak on the Hell in a Cell. Um, and was it the Andrade turn was like, yeah, well that finally, um, Takeshita being a total menace to Okada and Fletcher was great. Um, I noticed that Kyle had one of those yearbook photo shirts of Ishii.
It was so good.
And they also have a Willow one up on Shop AEW, which is great because like her eyes are closed in the picture and stuff. Is
Love it.
fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, just a quick side tangent. I love that the conglomeration shtick is that they are literally just being like 90s pop culture as
Yeah,
a faction, like from their entrance to like their merchandise. It is fantastic, but I digress.
yeah, and then, like I love that as you said, like with Leo coming out of the bag, right? And then he's got the rainbow trunks on that he's using now. Those were pretty neat.
Like,
And
yes.
then they put him back in the bag and put him underneath. And on a serious note, I think this is a reason because Max Max isn't 100%. So like because of that leg from a couple weeks ago. So they were
Right.
like, let's just make a multi-man match and he doesn't have to do that much, you know?
No. I have to bring in this comment really quickly, from our good friend Nick, who I love and appreciate, who loved the cage design, which I did too, because
Yeah.
when I saw that it was going to be a circular steel cage, I was just like, huh, that's actually really smart, because then it allowed the wrestlers to be able to move around more in the cage, which was also nice, which was great. And yeah, I really dig it. I think it brings something different and it's fun. But yeah, I was sports entertained this match. This was a lot of fun, and also the 6-on-6 helped, because again, with Max not being 100%, he still got to do some stuff, but there was a lot of chaos and everybody else did the thing. I will say this: Jake Doyle MVP. You're like, I hope you ice the boys in the morning, because that dick kick looked gnarly. I was like, yo, Andrade was out for vengeance with that. Also, Andrade, I need to know if I can buy that shirt that you had that says "fuck Don Callis, fuck MJF," because I can't wear it out in public, but I will wear it around the house and on these reviews. I'm not even gonna lie. So that
It's
is
like
what I'm gonna. I'm gonna look for that.
it's like half of AW's shop is just like, where would I wear this shirt? you know?
I was just like, I can't wear these in public because, reasons, but I will totally wear it around the house and wrestling shows as well. But Team Mark Briscoe does win, and we'll talk about it in a little bit because this got Mark Briscoe an AEW championship match, which like not even like 10 minutes after this match, he would declare it for Dynamite. So in San Diego, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But right now, Benny, let's get into what closed out Forbidden Door this year, which I glad that this ended up being our main event because by God, the men's Owen Hart finals, Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. Uh like
They did it again.
They did it again. Like I had no doubts they were gonna do it again, but god damn man, holy shit, they blew their. This is not the first time they faced each other, but they took me like, oh, that match was great. Let's step it up like 18,000 notches. And holy shit, this is another match of the year contender. Damn.
Yeah, as it stands right now, this might be my match of the year.
Hell
Men's
to the
match.
yes. Hell yes. I
because
kind of also agree.
like that standoff at the end where like they were like, Swerve was about to attempt to go for the house call and Osprey hits the hidden blade. Like, oh my god, man. Like, these are two guys that like are they really think of wrestling really differently than anybody else on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And can also pull off those things that they think of somehow, So uh, like Swerve is like doing this whole like most violent person in AEW gimmick right now, right?
Right.
And he's just finding ways to like punish his opponent, but still within the rules of of a pro wrestling match. Like oh man, it's just perfect, dude.
Seriously. Again, these two know each other. And outside of Starlight Kid and Tekla, this is also a really fun, well built feud. And I know, listen, on the one hand, I think profanity in promos need to be used sparingly because I don't think it's a very effective if you curse way too much. But you know what? I kind of was on Swerve's side in his feelings when him and Osprey went, mic to mic, where Will and everybody else has been telling Swerve, Will is making his way back to his home country of Wembley, and Swerve's like, no, I'm not going to. Again, we talked about it on the show, but make an easy path for Will Ospreay, and then Swerve dropped the nah, fuck that line, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, that's been living in my brain the last couple of weeks. I was like, you go Swerve, but man, this was a match. Now, the only thing that I am hoping that Tony Khan doesn't stop on, depending on what the state of everything is, don't cool Swerve off. Like we need to figure out how we're going to keep him going. Will Ospreay wins this, with the I have to say, and I mean this in the best way possible, but I was laughing so hard watching the Death Riders like be cheer squad towards the end of this match, surrounding the ring and cheering Will on to win this thing. I was just like, what in the baby face is this? So I was like, okay, I'm not mad at this though. But man, what a main event match. Tony Khan, don't cool Swerve down. Like, hopefully we'll see what's next for Swerve. But Ospreay ends up winning this match. He punches his ticket to Wembley. And depending on how the next couple of weeks go, Ospreay is on a collision course with Max at Wembley, or it could be someone completely different, which we'll talk about right now in a little bit. But that was our Forbidden Door main event. And again, talking about Forbidden Door specifically, damn, it took a bit to get the final card because we had to figure out which visas were available and stories had to be shifted. But again, on the report card, I gave Forbidden Door an A minus. I was just like, again, back to back AEW pay per views, A minuses. AEW really sometimes stresses me out sometimes with television. And I was like, what? Now, why did we do that? But when it comes to their pay per views this year, they have minus Dynasty, which was kind of a bit of, it wasn't bad, but it was decent. Their 2026 pay per view like has fired on all cylinders and hasn't missed for me yet. So I'm hoping they keep that momentum. But yeah, so Forbidden Door, man, Benny, this was another fun pay per view for AEW. The ultimate side quest, as you put it at the beginning. I love Forbidden Door because it's a good wrestling side quest for us.
Yeah, and this year's Forbidden Door appeared to be more of a traditional AEW show.
Mm-hmm.
So, or at least an AEW focused show because of everything that happened. And with that said, like AEW doesn't miss it on pay-per-views.
100%. So, speaking of which, let's briefly talk about it because after Forbidden Door, AEW stuck around California a little bit and they gave us a Dynamite and Collision this past week from San Diego, California. So, about 2.5 hours away from where I currently live. But I'm always going to rep all my Southern California cities because West Coast is the best coast. Just kidding. I love everybody here in the States, but I'm a West Coast boy at heart. So, let's talk about things that happened. And you said this perfectly off before we started, Betty, that between Dynamite and Collision, Dynamite was the very promo and talk heavy show, and Collision was just like, here's 2.5 hours of graps. Like, I was just like, yes. And also, I'm a little dismayed with AEW this week in the sense I was just like, Tony Khan, we couldn't get a poster for Dynamite this week. And so I typed everything out, and then Collision got a poster. I'm like, I'm trying to make things look unified, Tony. You're making my job harder. No, but let's quickly talk about Dynamite and Collision because this week was fun. Dynamite, so we had 4 matches and a lot of promo stuff. MJF beat Mark Briscoe to retain. Kevin Knight retained against Leo Rush. Moxley with his new with Death Riders patch on his pants. Him and Moxley beat the Swirl. And then we have a new TBS champion in Take No Shida, Hikaru Shida, which makes me super happy. I'm happy for her. But yeah, let's briefly talk about Dynamite. I really love the survival of the fittest match. I love that Shida won. I was rooting for Aminata. I love me Queen. I was hoping it would be Queen or Shida to win, so I'm still happy either way. Also, Persephone going full heel on Dynamite in the AEW universe was something that I was like, oh, okay, so we gonna allow her to be heel too because she's technically heel in CMLL, so now she's gonna be heel in AEW. And I'm like, yes, I'm here for it because heel Persephone is fantastic. I was like, I raised an eyebrow. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really see this coming, her being a heel, but okay, that's fine. And then the promo she cut afterwards, I was like, okay, girl, I'm here for it. Like, I am so here for it on the social medias. But yeah, but I feel like the most important thing to talk about from Dynamite is the storyline that we had with Kenny Omega. Because Mark Briscoe couldn't get the job done. Max is still champion. Kenny comes out to help Mark. MJF says that, he's willing to give Kenny a shot at the title. But again, the stipulation rears its head where if Kenny loses, he cannot challenge for the title. And he has until the end of the night to figure it out. And by George, Kenneth Omega said, fuck it, and is going full throttle with it. And so it is Max and Kenny for the title tomorrow night at Beach Break. So, I honestly don't know where we can go. Like, I smell a stunt. I can see Kenny winning. Like, I honestly don't know what the clear choice is, and I'm actually kind of excited. I don't know, Benny. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, no. To be honest with you, I don't want to know. Like, that's the fun of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, if you can smell of what the finish is. Like, what's the point in watching it, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Like, Sheeta was probably was definitely the right choice coming out of the survival of the fittest
Mm-hmm.
because she was technically the only one with like an actual story.
Right.
Um, or reasoning for why she has turned rather like, and I like Persephone as a heel. She seemed like because I like Persephone, and for a while she didn't have like a defined character,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd much rather know whether to boo her or to cheer her than just be yay she's here, you know. So, Kevin Knight versus Leo Rush was fantastic as expected,
Right.
and then oh what was it Fletcher versus ELP. Um,
Oh, Collision. Yes. 2.5 hours of graps, man, was crazy.
it was really fun watching the internet fall in love with ELP.
I
Like,
was I'm just like, guys, I'm so glad that y'all love him as much as me and Benny have been loving ELP
yeah,
forever.
they're all collectively went like, "Oh, this guy's amazing," and they're like,
ELP is so fantastic, and he's another one I feel like doesn't get talked about too much. I was like, he is such a great wrestler and a good hand to have in the ring. But yeah, Collision was just fun graps all around. They also established some stuff too, just like Dynamite did for Beach Break. On the women's side of things for Collision, we're getting a casino gauntlet match on Beach Break, and the winner will get a championship shot at Tekla at Redemption. I was like, oh, sweet. So again, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but when I saw the poster and I was like, oh, okay, Athena's gonna have a match for #1 spot, and then I see that Stardom's Rena was gonna be on there. I'm like, how come y'all didn't have Rena on the Global Wars? I was like, oh, listen, I said this yesterday. I'm a big fan of Rena, and her performance in the finals for the Cinderella tournament this year was fantastic. Her and Athena had a fun match. Athena is the #1 spot. Maya World beats Julia Hart for the #2 spot. And I'm just sitting here, especially when we saw that little promo from Athena and Forbidden Door. I'm like, I swear to God, if Maya World isn't the one to take this title off of Athena, I don't know who it is anymore. So I'm like, Death Before Dishonor is in August. Tony Khan, you better be. I'm not saying you have to, but I feel like Maya should take the title off of Athena. Athena has had this forever. I love the forever ROH champion, but it is time to have Athena literally become the fallen goddess and lose this title. But I digress. Um, I also really
"Yep,
enjoyed the rest. Yeah, so we're gonna see what happens. Who ends up winning? Face Tekla at Redemption. But as far as some other matches that happened on Collision, I have to say Speedball, Bandito, and Mystico versus the Rascals was baller. More of that, please. I just love high flying stuff. But yeah, I also really enjoyed the multi-man match that we got. STP out here just living the best life, even though they lost. Just getting on TV all the time and just establishing themselves. I'm so happy for STP, man. They deserve it. Everybody involved in all of that deserves the accolades and the flowers. I'm just putting it out there. But yeah. So really fun stuff on Dynamite and Collision this week because they're like, oh shit, we have Redemption in like 2 weeks, so we gotta start figuring some stuff out.
yeah." And like, uh, I thought Maya and Julia really had a great match. Like,
Oh my god, they did so good.
it wasn't anything it wasn't like anything mind blowing, but it was like, you know what, for two women of well for two people of your skill level, this is really really good. Like, it, I meant that a complimentary. It probably didn't sound that, but like I just,
No,
I
I
it
totally
was
took
fine.
it that way. And it's okay because like look at this. So like Maya has only been wrestling since 2023. 2, I believe, if I remember correctly. So she hasn't been wrestling for too long, and Julia has gone on record by saying too that she was a cheerleader at first, so she is an athlete turned wrestler, and she learned when she came to AEW, like she learned how to wrestle properly, and so this is where we are. It doesn't hurt that the people that have helped her along the way includes like Brody King helping this girl get to where she's at too. I was like, Brody truly is AEW's dad for all these young kids who are traveling with the company. It's really fun to see. Um, but no, I know what you meant. It is complimentary, and it's just that we talk about how we want to see, the potential of younger stars in our companies, and I think that watching them grow and get to the positions that they are is part of that journey. Yes, I love the main event scene with our established stars, but what I also love is getting to follow the beginnings of the younger stars and to watch them grow, and then eventually get to the main event title scene or the big, event picture, and then just sit there as a fan. Just is like, I remember when I first started them, and it truly, as a wrestling fan, makes us happy when we see these younger stars become more confident, establish themselves more, and then climb their way up to the big title scenes. So, and I feel like
One hundred percent.
people need to remember that when it comes to wrestling. It's like, yes, I love the main event scenes, but you got to support the younger talent too. And when you say you want things for the younger talents, also stick to your guns. Don't be wishy-washy about it. Like, call these people out. If there's up-and-coming stars or underutilized stars, you tell them that what you want, and your voice in your pocketbook say, speak the loudest for a lot of these companies. So that has been my TED talk, though. So I don't want to take up too much time.
All right, fine, man. I also agree that STP getting some love on television, even though they're not winning. I'd like to see them win a little bit more. That's not because I just want to see them win. I just want them to be a little bit more established as a heel group, right?
Right.
Um, and it's not just like they show up, they make us laugh, and then they get beat. Like you have like 20,000 other people like that, you know. Uh, Bring up the premier athletes for that. Don't bring up SCP for that.
Honestly. But yeah, that's so a lot of so tomorrow night is beach break. We have the women's casino gauntlet to see who becomes the next challenger for Tekla's title at Redemption. We got Tommaso Ciampa versus Chris Jericho. We are getting Kenny versus MJF for the title. So beach break is looking to be fun. And Tony Khan, because you are literally at a waterfront, I need one of these matches. Somebody needs to end up in the ocean. Like, use your surroundings. I was like, please, somebody get thrown into the water because that'd be hilarious to watch. Anyways, but that's it for us. That has been our Forbidden Door post show, as well as us recapping, Dynamite and Collision quickly while I was on vacation. But yeah, like I said before, Forbidden Door, another great entry into the catalog of AEW pay-per-views this year. And looking forward to Beach Break tomorrow. But that is going to be it for us here. And thank you so much for sticking with us. I know that you only really saw the icon of, a BC Wrestle Pod icon instead of my beautiful face. But I'm just happy that I was still able to have the show. And Betty, I appreciate you being here and being, my AEW cohort and all that. I love having you. You bring such a fun insight. And yeah, thank you for being here this evening.
Happy to be here, man. And I think you should call that a bicon. They've been watching that bicon.
Yes. I love it. Oh my goodness, we still got a pretty, busy week this week. Again, this whole week is about the catch up of everything that has gone on last week while I was away on vacation. So tomorrow evening, Kilt and I will be here to talk about the the first NXT PLE of 2026, which, well, not the first one, but the first one on the CW. Tomorrow night, we'll be talking about NXT's The Great American Bash. And then Will and I will be doing a double feature for CMLL as we recap the last 2 weeks of Arena Mexico, which includes a Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship match. And also, we might be seeing Persephone defend her CMLL Women's Championship title very soon in Mexico, too, with everything that is going on. Then on Friday, I will be here with Will number 2 as we talk about TNA Slammiversary and also talk about, with Mike Santana finishing up with TNA and Eric Young being given his release from the company, from his contract. Things are going to be looking interesting. And we're also going to talk about the newly introduced TNA Knockouts television title. So we got a mid-card women's title and the tournament that has been happening so far, which includes all of the knockouts except for our tag team and main champions in there, and also pulling some women from the independent scene, like Vivacious Vicky is a part of this. But the one that I am most excited about too, we will see the TNA television debut of Miss Gabby Forza. I'm so excited to see Gabby in this tournament. So we're going to talk all about that on Friday. And yeah, it's going to be good. But that is going to be it for us here tonight. Betty and I are going to get up on out of here and just chat for a little bit afterwards. So I'm just going to end the stream here. No intro video or anything because technology was barely working for me today. So I don't want to jinx it. But from all of us here at BC Wrestle Pod to you at home, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. I'll see you tomorrow for NXT and CMLL. But until then, sayonara, adios, and until next time, with much love, peace.